I was walking down the hall one day to go take a bathroom break, and I walked by Bennett Kaufman's office, and there's some music blasting out of his office. And I pop into his office, and I'm like, what in the hell are you playing? Like, what is this? He says, her name is Alanis Morrissette. I said, are you going to get it? He says, I don't think so. He goes, you ever heard of Guy Oseary? So this is the first time I heard of Guy Oseary.
Yeah.
And he's at Maverick, and he's going to sign this artist that this artist was blowing my mind as I was walking down the hall to take a peek. When I heard that song called You Ought to Know, it was a demo of You Ought to Know from Alanis Morissette. And it was so obvious. But that song, that demo that I heard out of Bennett's office there was a drum machine and it was more electronic.
Yeah.
When Guy signed Alanis and Glenn Ballard, the demo that they were shopping around town, around the industry, that everybody passed on, from the great Randy Jackson, who was at Columbia Records at the time. Randy Jackson, you know, the dog, right, from American Idol. He passed. So many other great record executives passed on what in fact was Jagged Little Pill, probably 92% the finished record. Because Guy got Flea and Dave Navarro and put a drum track on there and made You Ought to Know a rock record instead of this electronic sounding song, right? But the rest of the entire demo of Jagged Little Pill was basically finished.
Yeah.
And so when I left RCA and drove down Sunset Boulevard and down Highland onto Beverly Boulevard and down Beverly Boulevard to 8000 Beverly Boulevard and parked in the back and walked in the door, as I'm walking down the hall to Freddie's office to say, guess what? I'm here.
Yeah.
Walking towards me is this tall, lanky Guy Oseary.
Yeah.
And we were walking towards each other and we stopped like this. And I'm like, Guy Oseary, I'm Terry Anzaldo. I'm your new promotion guy. I said, Alanis Morissette. And he said, you know about her? I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're going to sell millions of records. He said, man, I love you already, because I'd never met him. So I'll never forget the day I brought You Ought to Know to Kevin Weatherly at K-Rock. And no offense, Kevin, I don't hear it. And Kevin had this CD player in his office at K-Rock when K-Rock was in Burbank.
Okay.
And he had this CD player that looked like a Porsche.
Okay.
Like it looked like the Porsche version of a CD player, yet the sound was the worst sounding piece of audio of all time.
Okay.
But it didn't make You Ought to Know sound bad. And he said, I don't hear it. And I said, oh, man, you don't hear it? Okay, all right. So I sent the record to all the other alternative promotion guys and girls at Elektra, at Warner Brothers, at Columbia, at Geffen, at Interscope, at every single label, and started getting my colleagues to talk about it. And so I just surrounded Kevin by having all these other labels tell him how great Maverick's artist Alanis Morissette was. Called him up. I said, I'm ready when you are, man.
Yeah.
He put it in and it exploded from there, from the very first spin. And when I was at RCA Records, I had an assistant who was a real grunge head. She was into grunge music. And I'll never forget the first day that K-Rock played Smells Like Teen Spirit from Nirvana. She came into my office and told me that she pulled over on the side of the interstate. This is before cell phones. Cell phones were just now starting. She pulled over on the side of the 134 and grabbed one of those yellow box phones.
Yeah.
To call K-Rock to find out who the hell that artist was that just played. So I tell you that story because when she told me that, the same thing happened when You Ought to Know hit the airwaves. It just, after the first spin, it just exploded. And that's just an anomaly. That's not commonplace.
Right.
That's one in a million, you know, if that. And it just blew up from there. And I'll never forget the first day she came into the office, not shortly after that. And she was 20 years old. Okay. She turned 21 during the launch of the record. And I'm a twin and she's a twin. She has a twin brother. And we connected on that level. I said, what's up, twin? You're going to be busy because the record that you put out is going to be huge and you're going to get ready to work for the next year and a half of your life. Or how about the next 35 years of your life, the next 25 years of your life? Because it's been 26 years now since that happened. and the record exploded. And we ran everything through alternative marketing, and MTV was a big deal back then. And so everything that we did, You Ought to Know, started with K-Rock, and we maximized at the alternative format. And then we even got Active Rock to play it. And then the AAA formats would play it. And then we would cross it over to Kiss FMs of the world. And I'll never forget when Dan Kiley called me, he said, this thing is too big. I have to put it on.
Yeah.
I got to put it in. So Active Rock and alternative hadn't supported female artists in years. I mean, years, since like a Pat Benatar. And now all of a sudden, here's Alanis just dominating the airwaves, not only at rock radio, but also at pop and beyond. 6, 7 different formats at once. She was exploding. I covered over 100 shows with her. My father was the mayor of Omaha.
That is awesome.
And so when Alanis played Omaha, we presented a key to the city to her and all that.
That is awesome.
I mean, I've got a picture with me and my mom and dad and Alanis with my dad handing her a key to the city of Omaha.